Let's be honest. When you hear about a device like the Lenovo Legion Go 2, it sounds like a dream come true for gamers. A handheld gaming powerhouse. A sleek design. A chip that's supposed to crush anything you throw at it. And best of all, a price that seems fair, maybe even affordable compared to other gaming machines. But here's the problem. Beneath all the marketing and hype, there's a dangerous truth most people don't realize. You might be paying hundreds of dollars more for the exact same power that you could get for far less. That's not an exaggeration. The Legion Go 2, for all its strengths, hides its best value behind small technical choices that most buyers overlook. Lenovo knows this. The way they've structured the options, upgrades, and extras is designed to make you feel like you're saving money while you're actually spending more. In this video, we're going to break that down step by step, so by the end, you'll know exactly how to get the same Legion Go 2 performance for less. Much less. Let's start with what makes this machine so appealing in the first place. The Legion Go 2 is powered by the Z2 Extreme chip, one of Lenovo's most capable processors. It's fast, it's efficient, and it handles heavy gaming without stutter or lag. Add a sharp full HD plus display, slim bezels, and a clean design under 1.5 kilograms, and you have a device that checks almost every box for modern gamers. Lenovo presents it as a complete experience, lightweight, premium, and powerful. The message is simple. If you want top-tier performance without breaking the bank, this is it. But here's where the illusion begins. The phrase, "without breaking the bank," is subjective. It depends on how you configure your device, and Lenovo knows exactly how to make you spend more without noticing. For example, one of the most talked about features of the Legion Go 2 is its downsizing storage option. Lenovo cleverly offers a version with a smaller SSD, just 32 gigabytes instead of the usual 512 gigabytes, which reduces the price by about £100 or dollars, depending on where you buy it. On paper, that sounds like a fair deal. Who doesn't like saving money? But this saving is actually the bait that starts a much bigger spending trap. You see, when people see a smaller storage option, their first instinct is to think, that's not enough, I'll just upgrade later. And that's where Lenovo wins. The base model looks cheaper, but once you realize you'll need to upgrade, you're either paying Lenovo's inflated prices for an SSD replacement, or you're buying one separately later, which they also expect you to do. The trick is that Lenovo uses this psychological anchor. They show you a smaller price first, knowing you'll eventually pay more to get the storage you actually need. But what if I told you there's a smarter way to use that same trick against them? Because here's the twist. You can downgrade the SSD to 32 gigabytes, buy the cheaper version, and then upgrade it yourself later for half the price Lenovo charges. That's right. You could buy a high-speed 1 terabyte or even 2 terabytes SSD separately for a fraction of Lenovo's markup and install easily. You get the full power, the full capacity, but you avoid the overpriced official upgrade. It's a simple move, but one that saves hundreds. And yet, Lenovo counts on most people never realizing this. They rely on the average buyer's fear of messing something up or avoiding a warranty. But let's be real. Upgrading an SSD is one of the easiest hardware swaps in modern laptops and handhelds. And for the Legion Go 2, it's even simpler. So instead of paying Lenovo extra for convenience, you're essentially paying them for your own hesitation. Now, there's another small but important way Lenovo tries to squeeze a bit more money out of you. And it sounds so minor that most people don't even think about it. It's the charger option. In some configurations, Lenovo removes the charger from the box and offers to sell it separately. They present it as a cost-saving option, but it's not really saving you money. You're essentially paying extra for something that should already be included. However, if you already own a compatible charger, this is where you can take advantage of Lenovo's oversight. Skip their official charger. Use your own. Save that extra £10 or £15. It's not much, but it's symbolic. It shows how the small things add up. Because that's the point. The Legion Go 2's pricing is not random. It's a strategy. Every option, from the storage downgrade to the charger removal, is calculated to make you think you're getting a deal when you're not. You're paying more for convenience and perception. Lenovo knows the psychology of tech buyers very well. When people see numbers like 512 gigabytes or 1 terabyte, they automatically associate that with better. Even if most users will never fill up that space, it feels like a premium choice. And people like to feel premium. This is what I call the illusion of value. It's the idea that something is worth more simply because it looks or sounds more advanced. The same thing happens with cars, phones, and even food packaging. Companies sell you the feeling of luxury, not the product itself. Lenovo plays the same game. They make you feel that buying the maxed-out Legion Go 2 means you're part of the elite gamer crowd, someone who deserves the best. But when you break down the specs, you realize that 90% of that experience comes from the same base hardware you could have bought for hundreds less. Now, let's talk about the real build, what you're actually getting for that money. The Legion Go 2's design is impressive, no doubt. The aluminum chassis gives it a strong, premium look. The carbon fiber lid adds to the aesthetic while keeping the weight down to just under 1.5 kilograms. The bezel-less display looks modern, the keyboard feels solid, and the whole device seems built to last. But here's where people confuse design with performance. The premium feel doesn't make your games run faster. It doesn't add extra frames per second. It doesn't make your battery last longer. It just feels better, and that's exactly how Lenovo wants it. They understand that design creates emotion. When you unbox something that looks good, you feel proud of your purchase. That feeling, that emotional high, is what you're really paying for in the top-tier version. The truth is, even the cheaper configurations of the Legion Go 2 use the same core materials. The difference is minimal, yet the price jump can be hundreds. So the question becomes, are you buying performance or are you buying pride? This brings us back to what truly matters, the performance. The Z2 Extreme chip is powerful, yes. It handles modern games beautifully and manages multitasking with ease. But there's something most buyers don't realize. Even the base version of this chip, running at slightly lower clock speeds, delivers nearly identical gaming performance. The average gamer won't notice the difference between a 3.8 GHz and a 4.0 GHz boost clock. What matters more is the cooling system, the RAM speed, and how efficiently the device manages power. And guess what? Those things don't change much across configurations. You're paying more for specs that look better on paper, not for noticeable improvements in real gameplay. Let's put that into perspective. Imagine you're playing a demanding game like Cyberpunk or Elden Ring. Whether your chip runs at 3.8 GHz or 4.0 GHz, your frame rate difference might be 2 or 3 FPS at most. You won't even notice it during gameplay. But that small technical difference might cost you an extra 200 pounds. That's the dangerous truth. You're not paying for performance. You're paying for marketing. And Lenovo is not alone in doing this. It's a strategy across the tech industry. But with the Legion Go 2, it's particularly sneaky because the base model is already so good. It has the same core chip, the same display, the same design, and the same cooling efficiency. The only major difference is how they package the numbers. They shift the narrative from how it performs to how it sounds. They know that words like extreme, boost, and turbo catch attention. But the performance difference is minimal, almost invisible to the human eye. And yet, people fall for it every time. Why? Because most buyers don't take the time to dig deeper. They see a YouTube ad, a glowing review, a fancy thumbnail with words like insane performance. And that's it, they're sold. It's the psychology of excitement. When you want something, your brain stops questioning the price. That's why Lenovo's marketing works so well. It doesn't need to lie. It just needs to direct your focus away from the truth. Here's the truth. You can build or buy a Legion Go 2 setup that performs identically to the most expensive version and pay hundreds less. You just need to make a few smart moves. Go for the smaller SSD. Skip the OV or price charger. Upgrade the storage yourself. Don't get distracted by flashy specs that make no real difference. And most importantly, understand that what truly defines performance isn't always what's written on the box. It's how the machine handles in real-world use. In the next section, we'll dig even deeper. We'll break down the hidden math behind Lenovo's pricing, reveal how those optional upgrades create a false sense of choice, and expose the real cost of overpaying. Because once you see how the numbers actually work, you'll understand why Lenovo doesn't want you to know the full picture. Let's pick up where we left off. You already know that the Legion Go 2 looks like a great deal until you look closer. What seems like a fair price is often inflated by small, strategic choices that make you spend more without realizing it. But what's even more surprising is how predictable the entire system is once you see the pattern. Every decision Lenovo made around this device, from the SSD downgrade to the charger removal, was built on one core principle: profit through perception. The idea is simple. When a company gives you too many options, it feels like freedom. You feel like you're in control. But in reality, those options are designed to guide you toward the exact choice they want you to make. That's called a decoy effect. You've probably seen it before. It's the same trick used in movie theaters when they sell popcorn. The small size feels too small. The large feels too expensive. So you pick the medium, which just happens to have the best profit margin for them. Lenovo's doing the same thing here, but with technology. Let's break that down. You look at the Legion Go 2 and see three main configurations: a base model, a mid-tier model, and a top-tier model. The base model might have 32 gigabytes of storage and 16 gigabytes of RAM. The mid-tier jumps to 512 gigabytes and slightly faster RAM. The top tier might push it to 1 terabyte or more with the Z2 Extreme chip at its maximum boost clock. When you compare the prices, you'll notice something strange. The jump from the base to the mid-tier is steep, but from mid-tier to top tier it's smaller. That's deliberate. Lenovo knows most buyers will choose the mid-tier because it feels like the best balance. But in truth, it's the one with the biggest profit margin. This is where the hidden math comes in. The difference in production cost between those models is tiny, sometimes less than £50. But the price difference you pay? £200, £300, sometimes even more. That's pure markup. And Lenovo can justify it because they know most customers won't question it. When a product is new and shiny, people don't think logically, they think emotionally. The fear of missing out is powerful. Nobody wants to buy the cheap version of something that's supposed to be premium. But here's where smart buyers separate themselves from the rest. They realize that the base configuration already gives them the same core performance, the same chip architecture, the same display, the same cooling system. The difference is storage and RAM speed, and both of those can be upgraded later for far less money. If you know what you're doing, you can turn the cheapest version of the Legion Go 2 into a top-tier machine and still save hundreds. Let's talk numbers for a second. Suppose the mid-tier Legion Go 2 costs £999, while the base model is £899. The difference is £100, and for that, Lenovo gives you 480 gigabytes more SSD storage. Sounds fair, right? But here's the truth. A 1 terabyte SSD costs less than £80 if you buy it separately. And that's for a high-quality brand like Samsung or Crucial. So instead of paying Lenovo £100 for a smaller upgrade, you could spend £80 and get twice the space. That's the power of understanding the numbers. And it doesn't stop there. Lenovo's accessories are another big profit source. Take the charger. They promote it as a fast-charging, optimized accessory. But in reality, any high-power USB-C charger with similar wattage will do the same job. The difference? Lenovo's charger costs £30 to £50, while a third-party option costs half that. Again, perception over practicality. Here's what most people forget. Companies like Lenovo aren't just selling devices. They're selling ecosystems. Once you buy one of their products, they want to keep you inside that loop, buying their upgrades, their accessories, their official replacements. And it works. Many people stay loyal to a brand out of habit or fear that using third-party components might void warranties or lower performance. But that's rarely true anymore. Modern standards like NVMe SSDs, DDR5 RAM, and USB-C charging are universal. They're designed to work across brands. Lenovo counts on you not knowing that. Now, let's look at another side of the Legion Go 2 story, the marketing narrative. Lenovo doesn't just sell specs. They sell stories. Watch any of their ads, and you'll see the same pattern. A gamer sitting in a dimly lit room, playing seamlessly. Smooth animations. Cool lighting. Every frame screams performance. But none of that tells you how much of the experience actually comes from the hardware. The ad makes you feel something: excitement, pride, desire. And those emotions blur your sense of value. You stop asking, is it worth it? And start saying, I want it.